Alright, so it seems like it's a common theme with my videos that I tend to install things that are invisible on my rig, and actually that's a good thing because that way, out of sight, out of mind, sort of deal. So I'm still obviously, by absence of this, waiting on my camper shell. It's very unfortunate that it's taken so damn long. It's been 1 month and a couple of days, and the thought of having to wait another several months is just driving me up the wall. I'm doing everything in my power to retain composure, and honestly, I don't know why I'm so upset about it. This is my third camper shell that I'm buying, and I've had to wait the first time and the second time. It's just this one, for some reason, it just hits right the feeling place. I don't know why, but it does gives me an opportunity to do all sorts of other things. So as you know, I have a motorhome and I've been doing a lot of faces dirty. I've been dealing all sorts of projects all at the same time, but so I have a giant solar array system on my motorhome, 1500 watts, and leftover wiring. Before I threw out the rest of the bits and pieces, I had a couple of pieces of decently long wire that I could use for a project here. And so if you remember, I've installed wiring from the battery to the bed of the vehicle Jeep Gladiator, specifically so that in the future, if I ever wanted to pursue overland and other things, basically I've alluded to running additional wires so that I could connect things like the fridge and all the other things. That was a perfect opportunity for me to actually do this. So to accomplish all of that, I had to actually remove my bed liner, which I thought was going to be an easy thing until I actually started doing it. The very first thing I wanted to do was remove the rails. That didn't work out. There's tabs on the bottom that you have to press while pushing this up, and I don't want to be breaking anything, so I've done my best to basically peel this instead of like removing everything, to just, which complicated process, to peel off the sides from underneath the rail out. Also move this up and run the wires that way. So I'm going to be showing you 3 different angles so that you have full understanding of what's happening. So way off in the corner there, I have my positive and negative. I'm about to walk around, so I'll show you a little bit closer. Basically, wires are going to go to a battery bank if I ever so choose to put one right over here somewhere. And if not, then at the very least I'm going to be able to take those thick cables and actually connect them to the distribution blocks, right? So I have additional wiring that comes off of it, and given that there's 2 sides to this truck bed, I had to run wires on one side and wires on the other side. So wires on this side are actually longer. That's why I was going through all of my leftover wiring from the solar install, and also over there as well. And then basically had to run wires behind the bed rail, behind all the plastics. Had to put a few more holes, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and basically do the same thing over here as well. You could see the distribution blocks. You have this is 10 gauge wire that's used in solar applications. It's capable of handling upwards of I believe 40 amps, but 30 to be on the safe side. I'm never going to be putting so much amperage through here, but that's just is what it is. So this is one type of block, positive and negative. Everything is color coded, that way you can't really mess it up. Had to run the holes. I ran into a bit of an issue removing the bed it kind of puzzled me as to why Topper King, who installed this, left this piece on the outside of the slip. Because that was the only way they could align the holes up. So I've put this underneath of the thing like it's supposed to, and lo and behold, the holes don't line up anymore. For time being, I chose not to drill bigger holes. However, next time I swing by a motor store, I'm gonna be picking up some hardware to basically, after drilling the hole, it's this stuff over here, that whatever it's called. So on this side, as you see, I have same exact thing, positive and negative go into the distribution blocks. So this is good over here because I'm gonna be able to use this side or the other side for all sorts of cool projects. So one of the things that I was doing while in Moab in Colorado, boondocking for so long, was that I was bringing water, truckloads of water, so I could put it in my motorhome. And so I have a whole bunch of canisters of gas and water, and I was able to hook up a 12-volt Harbor Freight pump to pump from the bed. That way I don't have to lift anything, hold anything. I just ran a hose from the bed of the truck to the motorhome, and that was very convenient. So I'm just going to be able to clamp this to the post, and it's going to be nice and quick. So going back here, this is how it's set up over here. So same distribution blocks, positive and negative. As you see, there's 2 red wires and 2 black wires over there. So those are 2 positive and negative go on one side, positive and negative go on the other side. I could have done it behind all of this, but I prefer not to overcomplicate things. It's just easier to keep it here. So this over here is the wiring that I've ran previously, positive and negative, that goes all the way to the battery. And so this will give me an opportunity to, if I so choose, put battery bank over here, or just keep it as is, and basically because once I connect this to the distribution blocks over here, it means that the remainder of them, like that one and this one, are going to be automatically powered by the same 12 volts as everything else in the vehicle. My other project here was to install outlet right there. So I've been doing some research. I know Mopar has a kit where you put the outlet over here, which is the easy part, run the pigtail wiring underneath there somewhere, which is also easy. That's when it gets complicated. On the front of the vehicle, to the left of the dash, there's a panel that you have to remove entirely. And to do that, you have to disassemble, I kid you not, the entire dashboard. Piece by piece by piece by, like it's a legit exercise where you have to just remove every single panel in the dash just to remove the one that's all the way where the driver is. And so you would think that after going through the process and hooking all that up, you'd be able to use the outlet, and the answer is no. You have to either use a taser or flash ECM or ECU, whatever it's called, at the dealership level, so that computer begins to recognize the new outlet. Now, I thought about it, and mind you, that project cost like about $300 with do-it-yourself scenario. I'm afraid to even ask what the dealer would charge for this. I could do it myself, minus flashing anything in the vehicle. I'm sure that's gonna be an associated cost, and I'm like, why? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it myself. A redneck exercise. I'm gonna set up an outlet right here where all the other outlets would go, right? If I so choose. I haven't quite, like, I don't have a need for it per se, but it's an easy project to do. So all you need is proper gauge extension cord that would go from here that away, right? And then somewhere there in between, and I'm sure that somewhere there's a way to access, either like through this over here running the cord, or through underneath, or like in the gap somewhere, to basically put the other end of the extension cord and just plug it into the outlet. Now, easier part of course would be to open the door and just run the cord out here, but then you have to figure out where to store the cord and deal with it, and I don't know why it's so complicated. But so that's a project that I'm still kicking around, and like I said, I am kind of upset that the camper shell isn't here, which allows me all sorts of crazy thoughts in the process. I've been speaking to people whose opinion I value and trust, and collectively we have decided that things are going to be slightly different. I decided not to build the bed platform. That's kind of ridiculous considering that I spent $140 on lumber and all that stuff. It's a tough pill to swallow, considering that I've also cut pieces of carpet so that I could staple it. But I think it's gonna be for the best that I don't build a platform in a way that I discussed previously. The idea of a platform is still on the to-do list. I'm just thinking I'm gonna do it completely differently. So preferably what I would like is some form of rollable thing, whether it's like a rollable hardtop or rollable thing that goes all the way to the end of the bed, so that you could just go whoop and whoop. I know that Topper King sells, well, in other places, tonneau covers that actually roll. But the trick there is that if you go with the like typical clothing and vinyl covers, they go all the way over here, which is not something that I could swing by, because there's going to be a camper shell sitting on top of this, right? So I need something that will be on the inside of that. And there's going to be clamps that will clamp the camper shell in places. So it has to obviously work with that as well. So haven't thrown out the idea yet. I have bits and pieces of the project, because I haven't cut any lumber or anything like that. I'll just repurpose them for something else. But the camper shell is, all right, now a couple of other updates. As you see, the truck still hasn't been lifted, and I still don't have 37s on it. I'm getting closer to my final decision on whether or not I'm going to do it or not. It's tough. You have to balance the need with the want and that guilty pleasure desire. Do I really want it? Do I really need it? As you see by all the tropical beauty all around me, I live in Florida, where normal people wear flip-flops during wintertime, and there's not much off-roading in Florida unless you go way up north to Ocala, and what passes as off-roading really is just sandy trails. So on that merit, I wouldn't really need 37s and a 3-inch lift kit, but I do plan to go back to Utah and Colorado in the future, and also Arizona. So it's more like, I need it once I get there, kind of deal. But I'm getting there. That decision is going to be made probably in the next couple of weeks, I'm guessing, pending all variables and things. And I have the funds for it sitting in an envelope, which makes it even, oh my goodness, you have no idea. Every time I open my safe, I'm like, oh, just. So I turned over the envelope and then covered it with something so I don't have to stare at it. Because it's tempting though, it is tempting. But it is on the to-do list nonetheless. So that's kind of it for the weekly update. I wish I had more, but till next time.